Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'm going to be playing this week's Midweek Magic event. These are the free events each week where you get to get a couple rare random cards and a cosmetic item for your first 3 wins. This week's event is the Slow Start event. It's going to be an Alchemy event where each player has the emblem, making it so as long as an opponent controls no lands, lands you control enter the battlefield tapped. So this basically makes it so going on the play is less of an advantage than normal because you don't get to play any cards turn 1. But I'm going to be using the same Alchemy deck that I used for the Decathlon event, which is a mono red dragons deck, a very aggressive deck, and luckily it fits really well into this format because our only 1 mana cards don't really matter on turn 1. You're not often going to be trying to Frostbite or Spikefield Hazard turn 1 on the play because there's nothing on the board to try to shoot with either of these burn spells. Most of our aggressive curves start on turn 2, getting a Fearsome Whelp out or an Orb of Dragonkind out to help ramp out the bigger dragons this deck has access to. So that is the general deck, just playing some cheap dragons to ramp out some big 4/4 flyers on turn 3, and then some really big hasty dragons on turn 4, turn 5 with Goldspan Dragon, Inferno of the Star Mounts. Super aggressive deck, super fun strategy. And yeah, it's what I'll be playing here because, again, don't really get hindered by this slowdown emblem at all. So without further ado, let's head into our first game. Alright, opponent is on the play here. We will be on the draw. We're hoping to draw any dragons, basically, and we did draw a Townraiser Tyrant. That will be excellent for us, since we do have the Fearsome Whelp in hand, to make that a 3-mana flyer. Should be really nice. Might have to go for an untapped Shatter Skull Smashing next turn if we don't hit a mountain. That'll cost us a couple life. Opponent drops an Expressive Iteration here. Basically drawing 2 cards out of their top 3. 1 goes into hand, 1 goes into exile, and they have to play it this turn. So it is a land that they choose to play this turn. A pretty standard way to run the Expressive Iteration turn 2 there. They're going to Fading Hope the Fearsome Whelp. I'm pretty fine with that. It's already kind of served its purpose, making the only dragon in our hand cheaper, although we do draw a 6-mana dragon now, so we could run the Fearsome Whelp right back out if we want to make Inferno cheaper, but it's probably better to just get this Townraiser Tyrant down as quickly as possible so that it deals as much damage as possible with the ability on their Spikefield Cave there. Shredding them for 2 damage a turn unless they sacrifice that land. There's another Expressive Iteration from our opponents, probably grabbing another land into exile. And a card to hand. Really nice card, like a cheaper Divination that even digs a card deeper. Demon Bolt on the Townraiser Tyrant, so it is no longer around, but Spikefield Cave is still going to damage them. And now I think we will go ahead and drop our Fearsome Whelp back down to lower the mana cost of this Inferno, so we can get that out. Play that Spikefield Cave as our land for turn. Help make it to the 5 mana we'll need for Inferno. And now we have 5 mana next turn because we've got 4 lands plus 1 Orb of Dragonkind, adding a mana for dragons. 3rd Expressive Iteration. Our opponent certainly has been drawing a lot of cards this game. This time they go for a Smoldering Egg as the cast for the turn. And drop a Storm-Carved Coast, which means they have enough mana for another Fading Hope. Potentially. What does Chandra do again? She lets us cast more spells. Yeah, exile the top card of our library. If it's red, we get to go for that. Does add a mana as well, but we can't cast Inferno and Chandra in the same turn, so I think I just want to cast Inferno Get a lot of damage out here. Now if they do have another Fading Hope, that'll be rough. Will be a pretty great bounce spell here. You see a guard approach. Oh. Okay, tap it. Alright, that's not as bad as a Fading Hope would have been, but it's still not ideal. And looks like now we will get the kill on the Spikefield Cave. It's a very spell-heavy list from our opponent. Shouldn't be that hard for them to flip their Smoldering Egg. And Den of the Bugbear is the land for the turn. I just learned recently from Twitter that the way Den of the Bugbear works is if you have an infinite mana combo to activate this ability multiple times, it gets multiple instances of that trigger that makes a 1/1 goblin when it attacks. So it's actually a way you can use infinite mana to kill everybody in Commander, which I think is hilarious and is actually pretty good. So if you're like a pretty competitive Commander player that has infinite mana combos in any of your red decks, you should probably be running the Den of the Bugbear, because there's a dump for your infinite mana to kill everybody that's just on a land card of all things, which is really cool. Alright, divide by 0 to bounce Inferno back to hand here. It's going to be annoying. We do have the mana to just recast Inferno. Could Dragonfire here for 6 damage, get the Smoldering Egg out of here so we don't have to worry about it. We could also do that once Inferno's in hand, like, doesn't really matter. Alright. Hit for 1. An Introduction to Annihilation in their hands, so they will have removal. But that is removal that lets us draw a card at least. I think I am going to go ahead and Dragon's Fire that Smoldering Egg before it flips. If they have another bounce spell, they could bounce their own, or if they have another You See a Guard approach, give it hexproof. Alright. Opponent's got a lot of duplicates in hand, it's not working well for us. Drop a Chandra here. She doesn't do much though right now, but we can set her up for next turn. Put a target out for their removal. That seems pretty good.
This little candle's gonna set your world on fire. Give a
I guess we could crack our Orb of Dragonkind here. It's probably worth it. I mean, Inferno's going to cost only 4 mana, and if we do get a dragon out of the top 7, that's also going to get reduced by the Fearsome Whelp, so we probably won't need that mana left behind. Ooh, nice, a Town Razor Tyrant. So now we have a 3 mana dragon and a 4 mana dragon in hand. 4 mana for Inferno is pretty crazy. But I am sure there are tons of people on Arena who've cast 2 mana Infernos off of Fearsome Whelps before. Alright, Thirst for Discovery, that flips the Ashmouth Dragon. Now they'll be doing 2 damage to any target every time they cast an instant or sorcery. This is where we are in danger. They are going to go for the kill on Chandra. Gets their blocker out of the way for Inferno to slap them for 6. Although they still have 3 mana up for more interaction.
Oh, why?
Shatter Skull Smashing is the draw. We don't have enough mana to Shatter Skull Smashing to kill Ashmouth. We can only do 3 damage right now. So unfortunately still nothing we can do about Ashmouth Dragon, so I think it's just going to go off here. We could just hope to play bigger stuff than them, I suppose. We could play the Orb and the Inferno. We can't play Inferno and Town Razor Tyrant. We'd need 7 mana. We can get 6 total if we play Shatterskull Pass. I think I'm just going for Inferno here. Yep, I was gonna say they likely have more bounce left over because they've drawn 6 extra cards this game off 3 copies of Iteration. Probably have everything here. And yeah, once you have the Ashmouth Dragon flipped, it's kind of similar to like a Hullbreaker Horror, like a miniature Hullbreaker Horror, where it just runs the game from that point on. If you have the draw spells to keep fueled with instants and sorceries. So it's looking like we're locked out of it here. Another Fearsome Whelp. We do have 7 mana now, so we can go Inferno and Townraiser Tyrant. Do Townraiser first, because I'd rather have that countered than Inferno. Well, not countered, but put back in her hand. Inferno can't be countered, but it can still be tossed back in her hand by the 3 mana instant that I forgot the name of. That is banned in Standard now, if you haven't heard. That ban list will go into effect on the 27th. Divide by 0, that's the card that will be banned on the 27th. Not in Alchemy, though. Nothing's banned in Alchemy. But it may be rebalanced at some point. So they have lethal here if they do that. And say there are a ton of spells here that can be lethal. So yep, that's just Ashmouth Dragon locking us out of the game there. So I don't play a ton of Constructed, so I definitely don't know the right lines against decks like this, but now that I've played a game against that Ashmouth Dragon deck, I think we probably could have won that game. I think there were a couple opportunities there where our opponent had like no mana up, and they had the egg out. But it was at a time when the egg only had like 1 counter. But because it's eventually going to turn into that Ashmouth Dragon, you're probably just supposed to take every opportunity you can when your opponent's tapped out to just kill the egg at that point. So we should have cast our Dragon's Flame, Dragon's Breath much earlier. Alright, here we have a bunch of modal lands to get to our 5 and 6 drop. A little bit of a slow hand, but we've got Dragon's Fire, Shatter Skull Smashing potentially to clear some things off the board. I think I'm still going to keep it. Sculptor of Winter. I think we do want to bolt the bird here. Slow them down. We're not playing anything on 3 here. Let's play another tapped land and the orb. Spirit of the Alderguard from our opponent on 4. Definitely a dedicated snow deck over there. Thing is huge. We'll just play our Goldspan Dragon and start getting in. Have some treasure tokens to help cast Inferno. Blizzard Brawl, that'll be painful. Eureka moment to draw 2, play a land. I think our opponent's on the pre-constructed Simic deck. It is going off with the Spirit of the Elder Guard for massive damage. Inferno does kill them in 2 hits, so let's go for it here. Because of Inferno's fire-breathing ability. Bergstrider. Bergstrider, I think, beats us here. Because Inferno's tapped down. I think the precon gets it. Ooh, not anymore now that we have Dragon's Fire. We go to 1. We go to 1. That is a problem. But 1 is not 0.
I won't stop fighting till the people are safe again. Woohoo! Watch me heat up the dance floor!
Alright, are we going to 1 here? Yep. Is Inferno gonna be around? They've tapped out a Bergstrider mana, looks like it. And the fire breathing will get there. Very close game. Well played by the Simic Precon. And that'll be our first win. Which nets us a turn Timber Symbiosis, one of the mythic rare modal lands, since it's a land that can come into play untapped or a big spell late game. Love these cards. Really like this hand. Love having a Fearsome Whelp with multiple dragons in hand. Alright, so our opponent that round seems to have just disconnected turn 2 there. Unfortunately, but that will get us our second random rare reward and have us on the way to that cosmetic. So, second win reward is Old Rutstein, the very interesting Crimson Vow commander. A self-mill card that spits out tokens based on what you mill. When you mill lands, you get treasures. When you mill creatures, you get insects. And when you mill non-creature, non-land cards, you get blood. Alright, here we are in what is hopefully the final game of the Midweek Magic event, because if we win this game, we've got all 3 of the prizes on lock. Our opponent's on the play, hand's a little awkward, very interactive, and a bit slow. So depending on what we're playing against, this hand could be great. It could also be pretty bad. We'll find out. And with a 5-drop in hand and no way to make it cheaper, I'm going to go ahead and just play the Shatterskull tapped turn 1. I think we're very likely to end up playing that as a land here. We do get to play Chandra turn 3 at least to have that mana ramp for Goldspan Dragon. So looks like we are against Witherbloom? Green-black sacrifice. We do draw into the Fearsome Whelp here. That's going to be great with our hand right now. Make this Townraiser Tyrant our turn 3 play, the Goldspan Dragon our turn 4, unless this dies right now. If it makes it to our end step, it accomplishes its goal. Alright, it made it to the end step, very nice. They are going to Infernal Grasp the Fearsome Whelp so we don't get any more cost reductions. We still got enough to get our Townraiser Tyrant down. Turn 3, and start taxing them some life to keep their Necroblossom Snarl on the board. And they're just going to sacrifice it immediately. They must not need a lot of mana. Sedgemoor Witch here now. So as they cast spells, they get pest tokens, which will gain them life when they die. Summon our Goldspan Dragon here and our Orb of Dragonkind. Opponent gets to learn a lesson when they chump block with that Eye Twitch. And they'll grab Pest Summoning for even more pests that gain life as they die. But that is 0 flying blockers, which is a pretty big deal. So you just have to pay some life to target this witch, so I don't have to discard a card or anything, so that shouldn't be that bad to go ahead and kill that with an Igneous Inspiration. Except now they have 2 of them, which makes it a little bit more awkward, but not much. We get to hit for 8 here. Goldspan gives us treasure tokens, so we hit for 8 plus 6. That's exactly lethal. So we're just going to go for the lethal here thanks to the treasure token from Goldspan Dragon. Just double inspiration it up. And looks like that's going to be game. That is the 3rd victory in Midweek Magic. That is all those free prizes unlocked. Let's see what our cosmetic is. You all know by now probably my favorite cosmetics are anything but the Parallax styles. So the showcase styles I think are cool. Card sleeves, avatars, any of that stuff. Let's see what we get here as our cosmetic prize. Just another Parallax style. I think it is way more likely to get a Parallax card style than anything else. Just because almost every card on Arena has Parallax style. Much less have showcases or, there's not that many avatars and card backs and stuff. So I am trying to get the rarest cosmetics. It's not always going to pan out, but anyways, that is going to end today's video. If you enjoy Magic Arena and you'd like to see some more gameplay like this, stick around on the channel. This Thursday we have the start of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty spoilers. I will be reacting to the live event of that. On Friday, we have Innistrad double feature coming out, and then 2 weeks after that, actually 1 week after that, we have the Garbage Cube Draft number 2, pretty excited about, and then 2 weeks after that is the full launch of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So lots of great Magic coming in the near future to you all. Just stick around for that, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.